everyone, and welcome to the September 16, 2021 Arts and Culture Commission meeting. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Vyar. Commissioner Vyar. Oh, I think
Sorry, here.
Commissioner Vidor.
Here.
Vice Chair Yank.
Here.
Commissioner Zadorian is unavailable today. Chairperson Tufenkian.
Here.
Agenda item 1A, regular business agenda. Report of the recorder reposting the agenda. The agenda for the September 16th, 2021 meeting was posted on September 10th on the bulletin board outside of City Hall. Agenda item 2A, consent items, minutes of the July 15th, 2021 regular Arts and Culture Commission meeting.
Any changes or additions, anyone?
I have a quick question about item number 3 under the performing arts events. I'm not sure if you wanted the dates on there for the record. It just says that the staff has confirmed the following dates and artists for the 2021 Brand Library Series and then for the 222 East concert series, but it doesn't list the dates or the artists. And I didn't know if you wanted that in the record or if that was just an error in phrasing.
Thank you, Commissioner Vyar. Appreciate that. We will make sure to amend the minutes to have the dates included.
Anything else? Anyone else?
No.
If not, do we have a motion to move?
I'll move to approve the minutes as written with the amendment stated by Commissioner Vyar.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Commissioner Vyar.
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Yank.
Yeah.
Chairperson Tufenkian.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 2B, minutes of the August 31st, 2021 special meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. And I believe Commissioner Vyar was the only commissioner present at that meeting.
No corrections. I can move to approve.
I'll second.
Great. Roll call, Commissioner Vyar.
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Yank.
Yes.
Chairperson Tufenkian.
Yes.
Okay, great. Agenda item 3A, Library Arts and Culture events presented by Jennifer Tommy Jones, Principal Arts and Culture Administrator. So let me pull up our report here. Okay. So now on exhibit at the Adams Gurney Park gas station is The Happiness You Deserve by Renee Barnard, which is a temporary fiber-based installation considering the unique location of this historic structure, a 1936 streamlined modern gas station that exists in a small and unexpectedly green, nature-abundant park within the city. For this project, Renee is considering the ways in which the sculpture might engage within the space, contemplating illumination in the evening hours to draw continuous attention to the nature at this rich site. You can visit the link on the screen. GLAC is now offering open hours to all 8 branches, and we're excited to offer physical collections, spaces, and technology in a manner that is safe, convenient, and compliant with the state and county public health guidelines. We have the hours on the screen, and for more information, you can visit the link on the screen. GLAC Children's Services has a fun new back-to-school challenge via Beanstalk. As part of this challenge, elementary students will be reading and completing a variety of activities to earn badges. One of these badges is getting to know your Glendale Library. In order to earn a badge, children will visit any of our Glendale Library locations to ask them questions. To earn their badge, they will interact with library staff and complete activities. For more information, visit the link on the screen. And September 15th kicked off Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month, celebrate the contributions and influence of Hispanic Americans to the history, culture, and achievements in the United States. GLAC is offering several opportunities to engage such a variety of activities and story times. For more information, visit the link on the screen. And
Beautiful.
the Brand Associates, in partnership with the Brand Library Arts Center, are pleased to announce the opening of Brand 49. annual National Juried Exhibition Works on Paper on view through October 29, 2021. The exhibition includes 125 artworks chosen by over 1,200 submissions selected by juror Marbella Muro, the Director of Artistic Programs and Education at Self-Help Graphics and Art in Los Angeles. The exhibition will be presented both in person and online, and a complete catalog will be available virtually for free, and there will be a grid presentation of all artworks. In addition to the printed catalog for sale will accompany the exhibition. And we also wanted to say a big congratulations to our very own Commissioner Vidor, whose work on the screen, Elysian, was highlighted as part of this exhibit. So congratulations, Commissioner Vidor. And for more information, you can visit the link on the screen. And that is it for our library report.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Can I make a comment? Just a quick one. I certainly thank you all. That's very sweet to recognize my inclusion, which is, of course, a tremendous honor to be in a show like of this caliber, juried by somebody of Marbella Muro's caliber. And I want to thank everybody out there in the public and many of you who came to the exhibit. It was really wonderful to see, after like a year and a half, an actual crowd of excited people all together, wearing masks, of course, enjoying an art exhibition, and made me feel like we were, you know, moving toward the artistic life we all dream of getting back. So thank you all very much, and for supporting the brand. Shout out to Sue, who's on the board, and I know there was a lot of hard work that went into that show. So congratulations to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene. Yeah. I've been meaning to go up and see it, and I think tomorrow's the day. So I'll let you know. But congratulations on having your work in there.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Great. Shall I move on to the next item, Chair Tiffany?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Agenda item 5A, I'm sorry. Agenda item 4, oral communications. I just checked and we do not have any. So we can move on to agenda item 5A, Be the Change series. And the motion is approving the funding of the Be the Change series in an amount not to exceed $40,000 from the 2021-2022 work plan. We do have with us today, joining us is Nicole Pacini, who's our Assistant Director of Libraries and Culture, and Tiffany Barrios, who is our Adult Services Supervisor, who is going to be doing the presentation. So I will hand it off to Tiffany. Tiffany, I think you're on mute.
Can't hear anything.
Tiffany, are you there? We have I think your mic might be on mute. Nicole, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I can see Tiffany looks like she's attempting to get her mic operational. So I can go ahead and just give a start to the presentation. And then when she is able to fix her mic, she can take it over.
Right. Thank you.
We wanted to present to you today about the Be the Change series that you funded and supported so generously last year. We could not have done the work that we did last year without the support of the Arts and Culture Commission and the Urban Art Fund funding. The Be the Change series last year reached over 10,000 people through a variety of different avenues, and really our staff really ran the with the program, really worked to create a just a really very diverse set of programs and experiences that spoke to the inclusion, diversity, equity, and anti-racism focus of Be the Change. Let's see. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. We worked with a number of different partner organizations, which really was one of the most powerful parts of the Be the Change programming and the initiative last year. We worked hard to engage with different organizations in order to understand what would be most meaningful to the communities that our programming was intended to reach, as well as celebrate and highlight. You can see those partners listed here. Some of them were new partners for us, and some of them were organizations that we worked with before. Go to the next slide. We realized that an important part of our work last year was going to be celebration of the diverse communities in Glendale. We ended up holding 24 Heritage Month events that reached 2,770 attendees, and those really range widely from Spanish language book recommendations to discussions about AAPI hate issues. There was just a really great variety of events.
Hi, Nicole. I'm
Hi.
now unmuted.
Great.
I apologize, Commission.
That's
Um,
okay.
So I can definitely take over from here.
That would be great.
So,
And
in
if
addition
Tiffany,
to,
if you could introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
yes,
For the
hi,
record.
my name is Tiffany Barrios. I am the Senior Library Supervisor in charge of Adult and Teen Services for Glendale Library Arts and Culture. I did help coordinate the events that happened in 2020-21, and that is what we're going to be reviewing today. So to just kind of continue on what Nicole was mentioning, in addition to the relationships that we made when we started to have these conversations with our different community groups, one of the things that became very apparent was that we needed to center around our activities in part around celebration. Celebration of the culture, celebration of the history, celebration of the achievement, celebration of food. And it was recognizing and highlighting the community touch points. We still wanted to focus on systemic racism and the concept of IDEA, which is the diversity, inclusion, equity, and anti-racism. But we found this to be equally important. And so these are just a sampling of some of the programming that we did during that first fiscal year of Be the Change. The other event was the featured program for the Be the Change series, and it did target systemic racism. Community members had the opportunity to interact with authors through live virtual events. Each author was paired with a local expert from the community who helped shape the conversation and highlighted local history, interests, and concerns. This included the Richard Rothstein Author Talk. Richard Rothstein discussed his book, The Color of Law, A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregates America, that had over 400 registered community members. Interviewing him was Susan D. Anderson, who is the history curator and program manager at the California African American Museum in Los Angeles. The two together produce vivid images of redlining and how it affected Glendale history, both past and present. Every Heritage Month celebration had a children's component, including themed story times, cultural programs, and reading challenges. Across 4 reading challenges with idea themes, 903 children participated and read for 154,592 minutes. Reflect Space produced 5 virtual events tied to the Be the Change theming, including Reckoning, Racism, and Resistance in Glendale. Reckoning explores Glendale's racist history of anti-Blackness and the resistance to racism through rarely accessed archival photos and documents from the Glendale Central Library's archives. Due to the scarcity of Black voices and content in the archives, Reckoning includes interviews with contemporary scholars and local activists who contextualize and connect the historical materials to present day. Reckoning unfolded through 6 weekly episodes, accessed through interactive digital portal image of a location in current day Glendale related to the city's racist history. Reckoning has had 4,515 visitors since launching and is designed to remain online and accessible to local, national, and global audiences into the future, and is generously supported by the Glendale Arts and Culture Commission, the Glendale Library Arts and Culture Trust, and the Brand Associates. The exhibit grew to include citywide public art installation Colonial Swag by local artists and Glendale Community College professor April Bay, bringing topics in the exhibit to the larger audience. The advertisement style public art pieces Bay created appropriates and recontextualizes archival material from Reckoning's Episode 1, All American City. Her work was shown on the Central Library, light pole banners, and bus shelters. The Glendale Arts and Culture Commission was able to present this exhibition through funding from the Urban Art Program. This exhibit expanded to include a collaboration with Glendale Unified School District, engaging high school students as viewers and contributors, featuring artwork created by 77 students from all 6 Glendale high schools in response to Reckoning, and was included in their curriculum. The pieces included collage, painting, digital art, ceramics, and more. For fiscal year 21-22, we want to take all the lessons that we learned and expand and improve, both in virtual, in-person, and blended programming. These events will continue to be guided by the following principle: to build a collective understanding of systemic racism and elevate the voice and stories of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Each program will use one of the following themes to help guide and inspire. Own voice, where members of the community will represent their culture in an expressive format, such as art or music. Her story, which emphasizes the role of women or is told from a woman's point of view. Intersectionality, which uses the multifaceted connection between race, gender, and other systems. Celebration, which is a celebration of a community's culture during these 8 Heritage Months and History Months, and plus a select date of other important events. And finally, continuing the author series, where we will continue to focus on systemic racism and include the One Book, One Glendale event, where the community will read the same book at the same time and then discuss it in book groups and events throughout the city. We are asking for the commission's sponsorship and Urban Arts Fund monies in the total of $40,000 to continue what was most successful from last year, such as the History and Heritage Months, art kits, and other events, while adding a year-round programming in recognition of Black, Indigenous, and people of color from our community in their struggle for inclusion, equity, and voice. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. And I would be happy to answer any questions that the commission has.
Well, thank you, Nicole and Tiffany. Jennifer, and then Gary, are we having a conversation around this now, or?
Yes, we can begin the round of discussions.
Okay, and should we start with Commissioner Bayard?
Sorry, I was having to unmute. I don't have any questions. The only discussion point I'd like to make is just that I think it has been an absolutely fabulous ongoing effort on the part of Glendale Library Arts and Culture. And I was very proud of the Reflect space, particularly the exhibits, and it's worth the time it takes to read the newspaper articles and all the archival pieces of the exhibits. Thank you.
Commissioner Bayard. Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, I will just echo what Commissioner Bayard said. It's such a wonderful program. A couple questions. You know, in the internet world, I'm not sure the amount of hits that are coming in are, you know, whether that's relatively good or not. As an example, I know Antaeus Theater Company, you know, they have these zip code plays that they do. And those are on podcast format, and it's very easy to spread your message through the podcast world. But I think, you know, by the end of season 1, they had 60,000 hits. And I feel like the Reckoning program is so incredibly important and critical to our city and our development and our understanding of our history and culture that, you know, when we get to the marketing discussion, I'd like to find out, and that remains to be done yet in this meeting, what specifically we would be doing for some of these, you know, really important programs to continue to market them. Obviously, Reckoning has already been introduced to the world and a lot of publicity around that, but can we keep the volume up on the amount of promotion and marketing we're doing so that that program and other really important programs continue to spread throughout, you know, the greater community, because, you know, there are 200,000 people in Glendale, and of course, not everyone's going to listen to Reckoning or look at it, but, you know, maybe we can get a larger percentage of the population engaged in it. And I don't have the answer for how that would be done. It's just something that I've thought about a lot. The other thing is, I noticed in the report, I hope I'm looking at the right report, that you mentioned the history room and the lack of, you know, that we're a little thin on the depth of what's happened here in Glendale. And I wondered if there's any connection that's being made yet with, I know that a firm was hired to dig into the historic context of various cultures, BIPOC, Black in particular, in Glendale, and really dig out a lot of information. And I wondered if you're coordinating with them. I have no idea where the city is at with that program, but I think that report seems to be very closely connected with the history room. So I'm interested in finding out a little bit more about that, or if you're involved in that. That's it for me.
I can respond. The Commissioner Vidor, these are both really great questions. For the history room and the historic context statement, the city did award the contract for that historic context statement, and we have been pulled into that process.
Great.
I believe we have a kickoff meeting on the calendar that I will be involved in along with our local history librarian. So we are involved in that, and we were involved in some of the early planning for that as well. So to the point of the marketing, we were happy with the reach of the Reckoning exhibit. I think engaging in that exhibit requires something different than the experience of listening to a podcast. So they may not be best side by side comparisons, but I
Oh, no. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it
Okay,
as a side by side. It was just kind of like, it deserves that much attention,
yeah,
It's-
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, go
So
ahead. Sorry.
I know that there'll be further discussion about the marketing for the commission's work. It's something that we're constantly talking about at Library Arts and Culture. How can we improve our reach? We know that we're bringing great content. One of the big things we did this past year was partner with the Southern California Library Cooperative, which is the consortium of all the libraries in Ventura and Los Angeles counties. And so that enabled us to expand our reach quite a bit. But I'm really excited to learn from what the marketing work that happens with the commission is. And I know that we'll be able to just take lessons from what works from there. So thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate it.
Thank you both. Vice Chair Yank, any other comments or questions?
Yeah, sorry we have some workers here, so there's a little background noise, but I did want to, yeah, again, just congratulate Tiffany and everyone who worked on this project. It was such a wonderful array of activities. I'm particularly excited about the history drive that was mentioned in terms of adding to the record, in terms of the folks who maybe have collected histories of BIPOC folks in Glendale and making those a part of the library's collections. I am hopeful that we do uncover, that you're able to uncover some, local sort of neighborhood historians, who have been doing that work and collaborating with them. And the other thing that I just wanted to mention is the historic context statement. I was just curious if you were connecting with the Getty around that, because I know that they're working on a historic context statement around Black sites in the city of Los Angeles. So that just might be a good connection, because they're undergoing like a 3-year process to redo that historic context statement. Anyway, those were just my comments, but I think it's a wonderful program, and congratulations to everyone who was involved.
Thank you, Vice Chair Yank, and thank you everyone who worked on this and put it together. It's such an important and such a wonderful thing. So now this 40,000 would be for going ahead for the following year. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and I'm wondering, have you been in touch with, I think it was the Aspire group who was putting together our cultural equity and inclusion plan?
Yes, we have. I'll put that to Jen for an update on where that project is.
Sure, yeah, we're in the contracting process with the Aspire Group, and we're hoping to have them on board by October, so very soon, so that the work is in tandem with the work that GLAC will be doing.
Okay, all right. That was my only question, because I think that was one of the things we wanted to do going forward, have it all be in sync together. So is this something that we're going to have a motion on?
Yes, we have. I'll just read the motion. Motion approving this funding of the Be the Change series in an amount not to exceed $40,000 from the 2021-2022 plan. So we need a motion to move.
I'll move. Do you want me to state the motion?
Oh, I just read it, so I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we need someone to second.
I'll second that. Can you hear me? My camera seems to have gone away.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Commissioner Viar. I will read the roll call. Commissioners Viar?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Commissioner Vidor?
Yes.
Vice Chair Yank?
Yes.
Chairperson Tufekcion?
Yes.
Thank you. We will be moving on to the next agenda item, but I wanted to thank Nicole and Tiffany for their great presentation. Agenda item 5B, storefront art program. The motion is approving the funding of a pilot storefront art program in an amount not to exceed $25,000 from the 2021-2022 work plan. I'm very excited to introduce Loreto Lopez, who is our temporary program assistant who's been working with us to develop the research behind and the kind of drive and framework for a pilot program. Loreto was also our 2020 Claremont graduate student consultant. So once we get them, we like to work with them again. They don't leave. So we're very excited to work with Loreto again. So Loreto, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's good to be here and to meet you all.
Hi, Loreto.
So I'm just going to share my presentation. Okay, great. So like Jennifer mentioned, my name is Loreto Lopez, and today I will be talking to you about our pilot storefront art project, Art on Orange, and I'll also be discussing with you the background research I conducted to help plan this project. So the vision of the overall storefront art program is for it to become a continuous year-round program in partnership with developers, brokers, retailers, and property owners in Glendale. The goal of it is to create professional quality art installations celebrating the surrounding community to be viewed by pedestrians, pique their interest, and increase overall foot traffic. I want to share with you some examples of storefront art programs that have taken place across the nation. So here at the left, you have Seattle's Shunpike storefronts, which began in 2010 with a 30% empty storefront rate due to the recession. And they successfully transitioned some empty storefronts into businesses, and the program still exists today, currently activating 17 artists and has applications open for 2022. Here at the top right, we have San Francisco Arts Commission's Art in Storefronts program, which also began in 2010 due to the recession and ran successfully for 3 years until the city's economy recovered. And they also created an Art in Storefront toolkit, which is accessible to other cities who are looking to create similar Art in Storefront programs. And at the bottom right, you have an image of New Haven's Project Storefront, which reported an increased amount of foot traffic, increased engagement with residents, and the opening of 6 previously vacant storefronts. I also interviewed individuals who participated in GALA, which was Glendale's storefront art program, which took place from August 2014 through April 2015. GALA stood for Glendale Area Loves Art, and it held 3 cycles of exhibitions in 2 to 3 storefronts per cycle, with 2 to 3 artists exhibiting in each storefront. This program was organized by one curator who was in charge of recruiting artists, reaching out to property owners for their participation, assisting artists with installations, taking care of PR and marketing, and organizing opening receptions. And here's some images of the exhibitions that were done through GALA. This is Charms with artwork by Mavis Leahy, Gloria Newton, and Todi M. O'Brien. Here's an exhibition of artwork by Erica Lizet and Michael Mass. And here we have an exhibition titled Worlds Scoop Their Arcs by Sharon Suhavoy. And I also did review materials from Arts and Culture Commission meetings that took place during the time period of GALA. And I spoke with individuals briefly from the Economic Development Division on how best to involve property and business owners for Glendale's storefront art project to take place in the future. I do want to share with you some of my findings from the interviews I held with GALA and show you all some key pros and cons. One pro is that the artists expressed this was a great opportunity for them to get exposure by displaying their art to the public and by collaborating with other artists in the same space to display work that complemented each other. And they also appreciated that they got help with installation during this time period. And the curator visited them to help them and offer them tools like lighting and any other assistance he could provide. And they also expressed appreciation of the fact that a photographer was hired to take photos of their work and of the opening reception to help promote the program. And these images were made into postcards for the artists to send to whomever they like and further promote their work and their involvement in the program. However, one negative was that the curator's staff support was lacking in this program. He took on many responsibilities that were mainly onto himself. And there was also minimal foot traffic and access to the space beyond the opening reception. And the artists expressed that they would have liked the opportunity to be in the space to speak with the public for certain timeframes throughout the duration of the program, which could have helped increase foot traffic. And most importantly, there was no stipend or production budget that was offered to the artists in this program, so they weren't financially compensated in any way for their participation. So here is the space identified by economic development onto 50 North Orange Street, where our pilot program would be taking place. We have 2 windows in the front we would be utilizing, along with 4 here on the side. And here's a space of 2 of the windows. One belongs to an office facing California Avenue, measuring 12 by 9 feet, and another facing Orange Street, measuring 14 by 10 feet. And here's an inside view of the windows, one in the front and the one image on the right and on the bottom are of the windows on the side of the unit. And all of these windows measure about 9 feet wide. There's no ledge behind the windows, as you can see, which would be providing the artists with more space for their installation. So we would like to provide up to 6 feet of floor space, which could be leveled off by a small stage, pipe and drape, or sectioned off by stanchions. And given the size of this unit, along with the windows that we have, we would like to have 3 artists install who the city has worked with in the past through the Adams Square Mini Park project. Artists who we know are reliable and good to work with, and this will also help ensure that the pilot program gets launched quickly. And similar to the Adams Square Mini Park project, the installation would be for a 6-week period. We aim to have the artwork complement what will regularly be taking place inside the space so that it all looks cohesive. So for example, if there will be meetings regarding the Verdugo wash regularly inside this space, then we would ask the artists to submit work under the theme of environmentalism. Some of my recommendations for this pilot program are, number 1, most importantly, to provide a stipend and production stipend for participating artists so they're rightfully compensated for their time and for their work. The second is to increase marketing and publicity efforts before and during the pilot program, which I believe will be really important. With this, we need to cover all media channels and promote the program throughout the duration of it so we receive consistent foot traffic. And we need social media posts, newsletters, flyers, signage, and email blasts to be consistent as well. And we also need to have as many local businesses, organizations, galleries, realtors, and property owners aware of this program and also possibly help us promote. Thirdly, I recommend having an opening reception on a slightly larger scale than what's been done in the past, so we keep as many visitors engaged as possible. And this could be with live music and food trucks or catering by a local business, and the artists would be present and available to talk to visitors about their work. And we would have as much signage as possible posted around the area to direct people to the event. I also recommend holding a closing reception would be on a slightly smaller and more relaxed scale and could have some light refreshments and an opportunity for artists to sell their art. And lastly, we need to increase accessibility for artists and the public to this space. So throughout the 6-week period in which their work is installed, the artist could be available for certain hours throughout the week to discuss their art and have people engage with it, which would help make the program a lot more interactive. So the proposed timeline for this pilot program is, with your approval, we would like to start reaching out to artists for their participation as soon as possible, beginning next week. And from September to December, we would be preparing for the opening reception. And by October 21st, we would like to finalize participating artists and their installations. And they would be installing their work from November 15th through December 2nd. And the following day, on Friday, December 3rd, would be the opening reception. And their exhibition would show for a 6-week period until January 16th. And during that period as well, we would be preparing for a closing reception to be held on January 15th. And afterwards, there would be the deinstallation period for the artists from the 17th through the 23rd. And our proposed budget for this pilot program is leaving us some room for independent contractors if needed, as well as installation materials, which includes the pipe and drape and stage that I mentioned earlier. We have $5,000 budgeted for marketing and an artist stipend of $1,000 per artist, amounting to $3,000 for 3 artists, along with a production stipend they would be receiving of $500, so $1,500 total for 3 artists. And we have the opening reception budgeted for $8,000 and the closing reception for $6,000, giving us a total of roughly $25,000 for this program. And yeah, now would be the time. If you all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Loretta, for your presentation, very thorough. Any questions, Commissioner Bayard?
Oh, Director Schaefer? Sorry. Director Schaefer, do you have a comment?
Yes, sorry, I thought my unmute was unmuted. Gary Schaefer, Director, Library Arts and Culture. So just to clarify, and one, thank Loretta for this incredible amount of work, that this is a pilot to see how the program works, work out any kinks or bugs or whatnot, and then we could, from our learning, expand this citywide to actual, property owners, landowners, and whatnot, and make it more of a citywide. So this is just basically the proposal for the pilot program. Thank you, in case that wasn't clear.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Bayard, any questions or comments?
Oh, yes. Thank you for the presentation. And Director Schaefer, thank you for clarification on the pilot program. One of the cons that was mentioned is lack of foot traffic. So I assume you have sort of analyzed the foot traffic around the location of the pilot to sort of ensure that people will see it and it gives it a fair shot.
I can answer that.
Okay.
I'll briefly answer it, and then if you want to have any additional comments, that'd be great. Thank you, Commissioner Bayard, for that question. We have assessed that is a fairly high trafficked location. It's right behind the street of the Portos. It's right off of Brand Boulevard. So we feel like we're confident that we'll get some foot traffic. Since, as Director Schaefer mentioned, this is a pilot program, part of Loretta's work will be once the storefront program is piloted, she will be there on site to assess traffic. We'll also be working with Public Works to assess the traffic in that area as well. But Director Schaefer or Loretta, if there's anything else you'd like to add.
No, that's essentially it. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
all 3 locations would be adjacent to each other.
That's correct, Chair Tifankian. It's all one unit. So basically, there are 2 offices, one on California and one on Orange. And then there's a large window. So those would be the 3 proposed locations for artists.
That's where, is that where Glendale Arts used to be?
It's directly next to the Glendale Arts office right now.
Okay, got it. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Bayard, any other comments or questions?
No, thanks.
Okay, and Commissioner Vidor?
Yeah, I was just interested in, I wanted to clarify, did you say, Loreto, that we were going to be looking at the artists who have historically participated in the Adams Square Mini Park program, and those would be from what we would select for the pilot?
Yes.
Okay. And then how big space-wise are these 3 storefronts in relationship to, are they of comparable scale to the mini park?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay, I wondered how is this selection process going to be, you're just going to kind of go through everybody since the program in Adams Square started and see what was done and picks, the ones that seem the most feasible. I know you want to work with the ones who are, good to work with, and I think that's very important, that we, hone that thing about our relationship between Glendale Arts and Culture and the artists. So I'm with you on that. But also how the selection process for the installations is going to take place.
Sure, Loreto, I can briefly jump in, and Director Schaefer as well if you'd like to. But in regards to this space, they're very comparable. So the Adams Mini Park gas station is about 12 by 12. And these units, specifically the office unit, I think one is 12 by 9. The other one is very similar. The only one that's pretty unique is the large storefront, the windows. And we have worked with several artists at the gas station, as you know, who've been really fantastic and great to work with. The reason that we were going to pull from that pool of particular artists is because we'd like to launch the program as quickly as possible. And we know that those slew of artists have been great to work with. They understand the space in regards to utilizing windows. And so we would work with artists who have been successful in that space and who have been generally good to work with. Director Schaefer, do you have any comment?
I would just add that they would be doing new installations, so they're not repeating an existing or one that they've done previously. And then also the plan would be, as we move forward, we would do a standard selection, allowing new artists to do it. And in an ideal world, we would have a stable of artists. And as a business owner, I could broach, the commission, obviously through Jennifer, and say, I'm interested in participating. Pick one of these artists. This is great. I really like this artist. I think it worked well in the space. The two collaborate, present, and then the commission decides whether to move forward with that or not. So but right now we're trying to work out all the mechanics of it.
Yeah, this is really to work out the mechanics more than anything. Okay.
Yes.
Great. And I'll just echo the comment made by Commissioner Byer about, really sweeping the neighborhood and the visuals in the neighborhood into drawing people into that space as part of the marketing program. I don't have any other comments. Thank you. Great work, Loreto. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Vice Chair Yang?
Hi. So I just had a question about the $14,000 as part of the 25 that's for the opening and closing reception. That seems like a very high amount to me. So I was just curious of the reasoning behind that. And if it's possible to think about maybe having some of those funds go either more towards the artist production budget, which seems fairly light, or their stipends. So that just to me seemed a little out of balance in the budget. So I'd love to just hear from the staff what the reasoning was for those numbers.
Yeah, so the receptions do, like I stated before, for something to be on a larger scale in the past, from my understanding, it's been very minimal, and that's resulted in, unfortunately, not many people attending the event. So we would kind of want something to really bring in crowds and really increase attendance. And some of those budgets does account for, some marketing and promotion that we would be doing specifically for those events. So that's a reason why that amount is larger. But this budget is certainly, flexible, and we could certainly allocate different funds to different portions. So, if that's something for discussion, I'm completely opening to increasing the amount of the production and stipend.
And I would just like to echo, I think, Loretto, you had said, you had hopes for live music. So obviously we have to compensate, the performers for that and so on. But I think the budget for this pilot is good, but it certainly could have some rebalancing, as far as, maybe going more to the artists and cutting back a little bit on those events, as Commissioner Yank, Vice Chair Yank suggested.
Yeah, just in my experience, you can throw a very nice program for 4,000 or 5,000. So I might suggest that I would like to see the stipends at 1,500 and the production at 1,000 per artist. I think that would feel more in balance to me. But I do appreciate the need to, we're a very event driven culture. And so I appreciate the need to kind of throw a really nice event and market it appropriately. So I wouldn't want to cut down too much on that because I definitely appreciate that. But I would like to see probably those artists allotments upped by maybe 500 for production and 500 additional for stipend.
Thank you, Vice Chair Yank. I think that's a great suggestion. We can definitely, as Loretto mentioned, the budget is very flexible. Another recommendation that we can have, if you would like to be in alignment, is the Adams Square Mini Park gas station's current artist stipend is $1,000, and then they have another $1,000 and up to $1,500 production stipend. So if that's something the commission would like to do, or if you'd like to keep the recommendation, the budget is flexible, is my point.
Maybe aligning it with what we provide for Adams Square, that feels like that makes sense. Yeah.
Sure, we can absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Yank. I think those are great comments and suggestions. And from my experience as well, I think you can do something fairly nice without using that much towards the reception. And I'd be glad to talk to you about it if you like any recommendations or so.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I do think that the artists, it would be nicer to have the artists get more. Now, would any of the commissioners be involved with the selection process?
That's a great question, Chair Tufenkian. Since this is a pilot, we were not planning to. We were trying to launch it very quickly, and we have this pool of artists that we know and love and want to work with again. Loretto has a long-term plan for the storefront art program, so this is just a very mini pilot version in order to assess the kinks and work it out. But as Director Schaefer mentioned, for the long-term program, absolutely, we would want the commission's input and to have an artist review and selection committee for that.
And when we do launch the long term, are we thinking of having it across the city in different locations? And
Yes.
Loretto, do you kind of want to share what we've talked about? We haven't fleshed that totally out, but you can kind of allude to what we've been talking about.
Sure. So long term, we would, like you said, want this program to be citywide and have as many artists as possible. So we're thinking, having an artist roster, sort of like what Gary mentioned, where, developers and property owners can look at the artists available and kind of, have a matchmaking process of what artists, would work best for that space and who would be, well suited to work together. Yeah, so that's just something long term, but I think for the sake of this program to kind of get it up and running for the duration that I'm working here, we would be, wanting to work with artists that we know we've worked with in the past and are good to work with, just to get the ball rolling. But this certainly won't be something that's long term. We would want to open this opportunity up to as many people as possible.
With an RFQ and everything, or could it be?
It likely would be an RFP process. I mean, we say citywide, but in my dreams, if the Galleria had 6 storefronts that were vacant, I would love to, if they would be in agreement, and we haven't broached them about this, of doing it to where that would drive a lot of traffic to the Galleria. There are 6 art exhibits within it. So I don't want to just lock us into, oh, it must be citywide. I think, my hope is the program goes on and on, so it could, be featured in many iterations, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just a clarification. So the idea from Commissioner Yang was really a good one about the rebalancing. So we're not actually changing the bottom line budget. We're just moving funds around. Okay. Thank you.
Now, just another thing about the budget. So if we're spending 25,000 for 3 artists now for the pilot, then would that just equal to what for the actual project?
That's something I believe we still have to really flesh out because, we don't know if we'd have 3 artists each cycle, if we're going to have several cycles for a year, how many property owners we would be involving, if we would, give a stipend or some sort of compensation for that. So I can't give you a concrete number yet. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I can't really delve too much into that.
And there would be, I think, learning. So I think once we build a list, it's a brand new program in the sense that we haven't done something like this in several years. So once we get a list of people that are interested in these kind of things, then we don't have to do as much maybe from a marketing standpoint. Certainly we'll have marketing. We may find that the closing party really isn't necessary, doesn't drive that much traffic, so then we can cut that. So I think we just want to pull out all the stops now, see what's working. Loreto will analyze everything and see what she thinks is the best going forward. So yeah, we don't know right now what the budget might be, and ultimately that will come before the commission, and the commission will decide that based on our
Okay, can I make one more comment? Being COVID time, I feel like it just might not reflect exactly what we would want during regular times. Just from my personal experience, I think opening and closing receptions have been a little more thin than usual. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and we'll take that into account.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
I have one more comment to make, or question, actually. Your long-range vision is to engage all of the business districts in Glendale. I know we're just at the pilot stage, but the idea of, Kenneth Village and, various other as well.
I think so. I mean, we may decide we want to focus on Kenneth Village if there are enough, sites there. If the Montrose Shopping District were interested in this, we might want to look there. So I think everything is really on the table in a good way for this going forward.
That's great. How does the communication work? I'm just very interested to know, are the neighborhood merchants, like downtown merchants groups, interacting with Library Arts and Culture now, or is it economic development? How are you identifying the potential spaces or planning to
So
do
right
that?
now we were made aware that this space was available. So we jumped at that for the pilot. But going forward, as was mentioned, we would market to various business and business districts, and all of that would be the presumed long-term plan when we launch a more long-term program.
Outreach to the business community. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You bet.
Anything else? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll try it because I actually pulled up the motion. So
Go for it, all yours.
I'll read the motion. So I, Commissioner Vidor, make the motion that the Arts and Culture Commission hereby approves funding for a pilot storefront art program in the amount not to exceed $25,000 to be rebalanced between art reception and artist stipends and production fees for 2021-22 work plan as outlined today at the by staff. How's that? Is that
I'll
okay?
second.
Commissioner Viar, thank you. I'll do roll call. Commissioner Viar,
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor,
Yes.
Vice Chair Yank,
Yes.
Chairperson Tufenkian.
Yes.
Great, thank you. And a big thank you to Loreto as well for doing all of this research and preparation for the presentation. Thank you, Loreto.
Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta.
I'm going to move the agenda onto agenda item 5C, nomination of one commissioner for the Artist Review and Selection Committee for the Citywide Public Art Landmarks RFQ. Motion approving one commissioner to review the Artist Review to the Artist Review and Selection Committee for the Citywide Art Public Landmarks RFQ.
Okay. Any, I guess, would there be questions or comments on this, or?
Sure, absolutely. I can provide some background, which is stated in the report, but as all the commissioners and staff know, we have released an RFQ with LaBasse Project for our citywide art landmarks projects. LaBasse Projects is in the process of receiving several applications for this opportunity, which is great. They are anticipating to have a large amount of applications for this opportunity. So where staff is recommending that we the commission appoints one commissioner to this review committee due to the exponential amount of applications we're receiving.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you. Commissioner Viar, any questions or comments about this?
No.
Commissioner Vidor?
So just clarifying, there's going to be a lot of applicants, and this is to create a short list.
That's correct. Since this is a request for qualification, it's really a matter of artists submitting their resume, so to speak, portfolio images. It's not at the proposal state yet. So this committee would be really shortening down the list, making sure that the finalists rise to the top, and the finalists would then be invited to present their preliminary design concept to the whole commission at a public meeting.
Got it. So you're not selecting art, you're selecting qualified artists. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Yank, any questions?
2 questions. Are we providing a stipend to the artists when they get to the proposal process? I'm sorry if that's a little off topic, but just curious.
We are. LaBasse Projects has set aside an amount of money for each of the, so to speak, finalists to provide a design concept to the commission.
Okay, great. And then my other question was just what do you anticipate is going to be the process and the time commitment?
So the process is we have received a recommendation from the LaBasse Projects to actually extend the application. It was originally supposed to close on September 24th. We have received, in a very good way, lots of artists who are interested in applying for this opportunity and just now saying, oh my gosh, I've just heard of this. So LaBasse, because they're receiving that influx of response, has recommended that we extend the application to October 8th. So it would be a recommendation to extend the application. We would close the application on the 8th. We would go through a review process with the committee to weed down the applications. We would choose finalists that can be shared with the commission, and those finalists would then work on a design concept that would be shared to the whole commission for final review and consideration. Ideally, the finalists would come to the commission at the December meeting, but it really depends on how the timeline flows out.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Well, first of all, I'm really happy that it's been extended to October 8th. I think this gives an opportunity to more artists to participate and to apply. And I think I would urge all my fellow commissioners to get the word out as much as possible, and let's get a really good pool of artists to apply. So Jennifer, how do we select?
At this point, this is a nomination process. So if any commissioners would like to nominate or self-nominate for the position on the committee, this would be the moment in which to do so.
I would love to nominate somebody,
Please do.
but I'm not first on the list of people to talk to, so.
Commissioner Bayar?
I'll defer to Commissioner Vidor for her
Okay.
nomination.
Commissioner Vidor, it's you.
Well, I mean, I really care about this a lot. I'm really committed to this, and I think it's one of the most important things that we're going to do, in a list of a lot of important things. So I think in terms of the person in this group, the person who has the most experience and is probably of the commissioners, and I may be wrong, but I would like to see Commissioner Yank if she has the time, take this on, because I think in terms of public art and installation work like this, you're probably, you know, a person who has seen this type of thing before and experienced it. So what do you think? That's my nominee. Do you want to, I guess, is one question.
I would be honored to. My question about the time frame or the time commitment and the process, I think was just my one hesitation. But I think if it's in October, it would be like mid-October for a few weeks. Is
Yeah,
that right?
Correct.
And we would
Okay.
try and limit the time as much as possible, you know, just out of deference to, you know, your schedule and make sure we do it at a time that's most convenient for you.
Yeah, and I agree with Commissioner Vidor that I feel this is really, really important. And with my background in public art, I'd be happy to serve. I can make sure that I'm available. I just wouldn't, if my fellow commissioners also agree.
I would definitely trust your judgment and your expertise. So, yes.
Great. Shall I, does someone want to make a motion to move?
Yes.
Well, since I nominated Commissioner Yank, I will make a motion to appoint Commissioner Yank to the committee to shortlist a group of artists for consideration in our public art program.
And I will second that motion, 100%.
Great, thank you. Roll call, Commissioner Bayar,
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor,
Yes.
Vice Chair Yank. Well, I don't know if you can approve yourself. So I'll move to,
She can.
she can. Okay. Vice Chair Yank,
Yes.
Chairperson Tufekcian.
Yes.
Great, thank you. I'm going to be moving on to agenda item 6A. I'm going to pull up.
And I'd just like to thank
Oh.
Commissioner Vice Chair Yank in advance for her service and agreeing to do this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone's confidence in me. I apologize. I have to step away just for 2 minutes. We have some workers at our house, so I'll be right back.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to pull up the presentation for this portion of 6A. Okay. So this is part of our agenda item 6A 2021-2022 work plan progress updates. We're very excited to share that the Verdugo Skate Park mural is currently in the process of being installed by artist Gui, also known as Aldo Chacon. I visited the site on Tuesday. It's looking absolutely gorgeous. We're very excited to be working together with Aldo. GTV6 is going to be visiting the site on Friday, and actually Vice Chair Yank will be there as well to answer any questions from GTV6 regarding the project. So we're very excited that is happening. We are also working with artist Jennifer Benson Gable for her meter pole art project, which would be installed off of Isabel Street, pardon me, Broadway and Glendale Avenue. It's going to be installed sometime in September 2021, so we'll make sure to keep the commission apprised of that. Upcoming with as an AHA project is from 1111 Creative Collective and Light Writers. Their project Light Waves will be installed in early October and will be on exhibit on October 9th to November 12th in the Central Park Paseo. So we'll also make sure to keep the commission apprised of that project. The Blue Marble Art Collective's project Impending Storms will be located at the Central Library in the main foyer entrance. From March 4th to May 1st of 2022, and it will be in conjunction with both Reflect Space and the Brand Library's exhibits focused on Earth Day. So we're happy that all the exhibits will be speaking to one another. And as of today, we have 10 out of the 17 AHA projects that have been launched. The two I mentioned before are projects that are in process. And we are still working with 5 artists to get the final logistics process for their projects, and we're hoping to launch them very soon. And we'll keep the commission apprised of the progress at the next meeting. So next, I'm going to move on to Beyond the Box. The Utility Box mural art. This year's theme was celebrating mental health awareness, and we received several applications, very great applications for this opportunity. Staff has located 8 locations for proposed boxes. This is a list of the locations where the boxes will be located. And just wanted to share some of the artwork that was approved. We have Michelle Den, whose box will be located on Colorado Street. Victoria Cuenca, who's going to be located on Colorado Street and Adams Street. Caro Cerezo on Colorado Street and Columbus Avenue. Marcel Mendiola on Colorado Street and Pacific Avenue. So have these artists as well. Alma Juarez on Jackson Street and Glen Oaks Boulevard. Steve Farrow on Louise Avenue and Wilson Street. Nicholas Freeman and the Art of Elysium is actually an organization that works with youth who are struggling with mental health awareness. So they will be partnering to do this design. Caribbean and Badruguiri on New York Avenue, and these are the artists that have been chosen for this year's Utility Box mural program. Commissioner Vire was on the committee for this, as well as Commissioner Zadorian. Commissioner Vire, do you have any comments that you'd like to share about the process of the artists?
Not really, except that I'm having some serious audio problems with you, Jennifer, so I don't know what you've already covered. I just would add that we probably paid more attention to the locations this time, matching the designs that would provide the experience that was more suited to the audience in that area. More than we did last year, and it was wonderful to see this various expressions of mental health concern or the concepts behind the theme this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Vire. I apologize. I've also been told that my mic is having some issues, so I will fix that for the next meeting. But we really appreciate your participation on the committee, and I think we have some strong artists who are part of this year's Beyond the Box program. So we're very excited. So the painting of the murals will take place October 22nd to the 24th that weekend, and I'll make sure to share all the locations with the commissioners as well. I think we've invited commissioners to stop by and say hello to the artists, which I know they always love. So we'll make sure to share that with you as well. Up next, we have LaBasse Project, which we've talked about earlier today. But as I mentioned, due to the influx of interest in the RFQ, we're deciding to extend the application to October 8th. So we'll make sure to update that on our website and on our RFQ guidelines as well. So we'll keep you apprised of the status of those applications. We are currently also working with Sarah Odenkirk on the mural ordinance process. She's been doing a wonderful job in working with us and really combing through all of our ordinances and all of our agreements. So we were very thankful to be working with her. We are hoping to have an update very soon in regards to the recommendations for the ordinance, which we can hopefully share at the October meeting. So we'll make sure to keep you all apprised on that as well. Regarding performing arts, as many of you know, because you've attended, the Brand Library Arts Center's Plaza series has been going strong. We've been getting about 250 or so attendees coming to each performance, which has been fantastic. We have another performance coming up this Friday, September 17th, tomorrow with the Romies. And we also have our final performance there on September 24th with the Reckless Night Ensemble. So you can find more information on our website, as well as the Brand Library's website as well, and the associates as well. And then coming up in October, it's a very busy month for October for the commission. We have our 222 East concert series that's going to be launching at the Artsock Paseo. We have some really wonderful artists who are going to be part of that series, which I think I mentioned at the last meeting. So we will definitely share more information about that as well. And that is the update for the 2021-22 work plan progress. Chair Tufenkian, are you with us?
Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I lost you.
No, I was just muted. Any other updates, or we're done with the updates?
Those are all of my updates, yes.
Okay. Thank you. So moving on, what do we have next?
Up
6B?
next. 6B, we have Marketing Communications Assessment for Arts and Culture Commission programs. And I'm very excited to introduce our 2021 Claremont Graduate University Student Consultant, Yasmin Buhavs, who's been working with us to really do a deep dive assessment of our marketing and communications for the commission's programs. So I'd like to introduce Yasmin, and you can take it away.
Perfect, thank you.
Can you guys
Hi,
hear me all
Yasmin.
right? Hello. Is my mic working all right for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm a graduate student at Claremont. I'm studying art management. This is my capstone project, basically, to graduate from Claremont. So the project was to make an assessment of the marketing team here at Glendale and how the arts and culture program can reach out all the citizens of Glendale, but also to the wider Los Angeles as well, because Glendale is so up north sometimes. Not everybody would like to go there with the traffic and all this, but how is it possible to make it well for everybody that they would like to go there and it could be a destination for arts and culture?
Yasmin, quickly before you move on, I think we're having some difficulty hearing you. If you can increase the volume on your microphone, maybe?
Better like that?
Yeah, I think that's much better.
Okay, I think it's my headphones. I need to change it as well. I think it's that mostly. So I'm gonna put it to the side and hopefully you can hear me all.
Would you like me to begin sharing your presentation, or do you plan to share that? Okay, I will go ahead and start sharing that. 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay, can you all see that? Okay, go ahead, Yasmin.
All right. You can go directly to the next slide, actually. Yes. So as of today, I had to make an assessment of the marketing and public relations or even social media platform that the Arts and Culture Commission is offering to Glendale. And most of this that was happening most often was that they needed a help with, for example, postcard, flyers, and posters, and just documenting and archiving live program that was happening in Glendale, where people can go back to their website and be able to find everything that has happened in the past, and maybe they will have an idea of what would happen in the future, how popular it is, and exactly just like the type of event that the city of Glendale has to offer. A video production assistance would be even better. I've been looking at the actually public library YouTube channel, and it's working wonder. And I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be great as well to have a video recording of the event happening that are parts of the arts and culture and not just the library itself. The website, we were discussing with Jennifer actually, like ways that the website could be more accessible. One of my remarks was that if the link was not sent to me directly, it was a little bit hard to find it through the library website. So just to make it more accessible and more noticeable, and people would have easier access to find all the events and the urban art program that is offered as well. Press kits for events and program, which generally is handled by a whole person by itself. For now, it seems that it's a little bit of everybody that's pinching in the time that they have in order to produce that. And I know that most of the artists likes to have that direct access and to talk about its work and to say a little bit about himself or herself, and just trying to make their art more visible. Press is an important part of that step. Networking with artists as well, and just a marketing person in general that have a good handle on all the pipelines of the program and event, including the most popular program, and prepare for new program as well, such as an RFQ or the mural program and other programming future. So it really depends. All of this or everything that is happening right now through my assessment. I've also done for the next slide, an assessment of the social media platform that as of today, and I compared it to the city of West Hollywood. So this is the Facebook as of today. Yours was created just 1 year apart, but already we can see that the number of people that like the page, for example, is triple. Like it's nothing to compare to like the one of Glendale Library and Art and Culture. Next slide. Actually, you'll be able to see that the one for Instagram is actually very surprising, because there's a 2-year gap in between the West Hollywood Arts and Culture and the Glendale Arts and Culture Instagram account. And there is not that much difference between the posts or the numbers of followers. And that means that the people are actually following and want to know what happened next. The thing that we need to figure out is how to give back to the community and how to reach back to them, since we're trying to reach it out to the program itself. If you're trying to participate, and in order to make all of this accessible, the public relation and communication part needs to step up, and that is my assessment as of today. For the next slide, I also did the same thing for Twitter as well. And so we can see that there's not that many difference in between the two. And we know that West Hollywood has this huge impact on their community, and the community is actually really present into their everyday event and everyday life. There's mentions, hashtags, all of it that is developed. And why not Glendale? Why wouldn't it work for you as well? So I think that in order to do this, for the next slide, an RFP would be great to be built. So an RFP exactly is a document that an organization will provide to announce a new project, an opportunity, or opportunity to interested parties through a bidding process. Thanks to that RFP that can be built, a peer firm would be able to be hired. And thanks to that peer firm, we'll be able to reach all the residents of Glendale, but also to the wider Los Angeles as well. So you might ask, why an RFP? So an RFP in comparison to an RFQ. An RFP would be exactly a request for proposal rather than an RFQ would be just a request for qualification. As of today, you do not need a quote on the qualification that is having that of a company. What you need is a project, is a proposal, a solution that would match exactly all the public relation communication needs that the city of Glendale needs as of today. So that's why I propose an RFP instead. An RFP for a PR firm is actually a great format to approach and because it goes along the line of building a format, building a proposal, and actually going all of that through a timeline. Because in order for that process to be well done, it needs to have a beginning and a deadline. And so PR firm will be able to actually give that out because in part of their project, there needs to be some sort of end date for them in order to do all of the project. The competitive review process will be very interesting with this RFP, and it will be much more, it will be a better solution than an RFQ for this, because if done right, you end up with the best candidate to meet your needs, with a budget that is allocated, meaning that you will have a certain budget that you can give them, and they can respond with their own budget and see if it matches or if it can be lowered or higher up. It depends. But the last thing for a good RFP, it will go far toward charting a course for success, and the PR firm is brought on board at that time. A PR firm, as of today, will be able to help with public relations, marketing and branding, but as well as account management and reporting. Because in order for a PR firm to be working well, they need to be able to report to you with numbers and to show that it is going well. So a PR firm will be able to do that much better. And yeah, if you have any question, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. And before we jump in, I wanted to thank you so much for all the work that you've done. Director Schaefer, is there anything you'd like to add before the commissioners have questions?
I apologize. The sound kept cutting out. My sound kept cutting out as Yasmin was sharing. I think it was just, hopefully just on my end, but you know, we really appreciate the work Yasmin's done. What we were really looking at is how can we get the word out more on what we're accomplishing. And Jennifer and I conferred and basically concluded that we needed to hire a firm, and what Yasmin has been doing for the last many weeks is culling through countless RFPs of various cities looking to hire PR firms, not always just for arts and culture. It could be for tourism or other things, and kind of pulling together the best and brightest thinking of that and putting that into a document. She's also documented all those so we can go back to them and look at them. And this is a great deal of footwork that normally Jennifer would have to do, who doesn't really have time to do it. So it will allow us to go forward with hiring a firm. You know, we are spending a great deal of money through arts and culture. And one might say any money we spend on PR, we could be spending on arts and culture. But if people don't know that we are doing the work we're doing, then sometimes you might ask, why are we doing it? The other thing is, you know, we have a charge as this commission to transform Glendale into an arts and culture destination. And PR is a proven art. And so we would really like to embrace the work that Yasmin has done and move forward with launching an RFP to hire a professional firm, boutique firm. We don't really much care, just someone who has expertise in this. So anything you would like to add, Jennifer?
No, that's it. That's it. Thank you. Perfectly said. Nothing else to add. I think we might, Chair Tefankian, I think you might be muted.
Sorry. So Dr. Schaefer and Jennifer, first I want to thank you both for getting on this and putting this together and getting Yasmin on board. Really glad to have her doing all the legwork. Thank you. And yes, my audio also did keep cutting out. So thank you for Gary for giving us a brief synopsis of it. Now I'd like to maybe ask my fellow commissioners if they have any questions or comments. Commissioner Villar?
No, I was also having the audio problems, and so I apologize if I missed something important, but it looked like a very thorough analysis, a very thorough job. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, Dr. Schaefer and Jennifer.
Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, same sentiment. Thank you, Gary, Jennifer, and Yasmin for taking this on. I totally agree that it is a vital component of our becoming an arts mecca and, you know, arts-centric city. And I don't, you know, obviously, I think a PR firm is a great idea. I support that. I will be interested to find out what the costs are in retaining the services of a PR firm to handle this. We haven't gotten that far yet, but we'll get there. I think one of the things that I always think about, and I'm glad you picked a city like WeHo to compare us to, because one thing that I've noticed about them is that the whole city kind of lives and breathes their arts program. You know, it's not just, oh, a certain department does this and they're kind of sequestered in that world. The whole city reflects itself as an arts concerned and culturally oriented city. And I think we do too. But I also think that the city of Glendale in general, I think GLAC is doing a spectacular job of, burgeoning our arts program and making us more visible. But I think the city, I'm kind of addressing myself to the city in general, and maybe to the people who handle the various online platforms for the entire city of Glendale, that when you go on the city's website, you don't immediately see any evidence that that the arts are important to Glendale. Yes, of course, they're important to us and we're focused on them. But when the city updated its website, I have to confess I was very disappointed to see how basically bland and business-like it was, and that the image of the city was not embracing the arts as much as it could. And so I guess I would ask, I don't really know what my question is, but I think my question is that, are we going to, get the city to embrace this and to do whatever they can in their realms to reflect our concern for culture and the arts, visually and any other way they can? Because the city in general, arts and culture does a great idea. GLAC's web materials look great. They're very colorful. They're very bold and exciting and provocative. But the city of Glendale has a very, it's a business-oriented city, and it tends to focus on that. And, our city's image is very much business-like, but not very reflective of our interest in growing ourselves into an arts mecca. So that's just my editorial comment, and I hope somehow we can pull the city in and the city's, web people and everybody to reflect a city that cares about the arts, just like West Hollywood does. And to a great extent, Pasadena does it a little better than we do too, in general. So that's it for me.
Might I address, Chair Tevkinkian?
Yes.
You actually encapsulate really my hopes for a PR firm. I'm not necessarily looking for a firm that's like, yes, I want them to put press releases out in greater Southern California area, the necessary part of it, but really looking for a strategic partner that might say, you really need more galleries in the city if you want to be an arts destination. Your city website is rather business-like, which is good, but perhaps if you're trying to be an arts destination, you might want a little more flair. So, sometimes we can preach till the cows come home, but sometimes hearing from a consultant who's kind of a third party outside, maybe folks will listen. So I think that that's really encapsulates what we're looking for, is that kind of strategic partner that's going to help us, to transform it, not just get a press release out saying that there's an art opening here. Yes, again, we need that, but more than that. Thank you.
Mhm. I'm really
Dr.
glad to
Schaefer,
hear that.
if I could add, I think in this at this time, I think we would also want to maybe verbalize somewhere in writing that the arts would go through the Arts and Culture Commission, and how, what would go through us and what would be done independently through other departments.
Not sure that's aligned with this topic, but
well,
happy to
I'm just saying
entertain
that if we want to reflect the city, if we want to Glendale to reflect as a city of arts, I think it should maybe be channeled through one source rather than every department doing their own.
Perhaps the PR firm would recommend that.
Yeah. Okay, and Vice Chair Yang.
Thank you so much, Yasmin, for this work. It was a great presentation. I was able to hear the whole thing, luckily. so thank you. And very much aligned with what I've noticed as well. So I think it's a great set of recommendations. I think in my experience working with a PR consultant and with various folks in the past and being in communications, I think you're spot on, Gary, in terms of thinking about the holistic approach, to that larger goal of Glendale being an arts and culture destination, and what are the various different levers communications wise that we are able to pull in order to get closer to that goal. I do know that the LA County region has a very specific kind of PR environment. So I would be interested in, I guess my recommendation would be to look for a firm that is very, very good at playing in that environment and has all of those relationships, with the arts and culture reporters and everything like that, but also has a broader view, and maybe has a foot in, like you were saying, tourism, or can kind of reach beyond that too. Because my experience has been that there's people who are like super focused on the region, and very, very good at that. Or you have the people who have the broader view and not so good in the region. So it's going to be kind of a balance to find those firms that are going to be affordable and also kind of are able to play in both of those spaces. So just sharing, a comment as you're starting that process of putting out the RFP, but I'm very much in support of the recommendations. I think they're very well taken. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right. Is this something that we're going to agendize for next time, or what's the next step?
This was just a discussion item, so we want to thank, of course, Yasmin for doing her presentation. Staff can take all of the great feedback that the commission has provided and begin working on a draft RFP, and then of course we would share the draft with you all when it's ready. But this was the presentation.
Perfect.
And I don't want to underplay the tremendous amount of work that Yasmin did over these last 3 weeks. This is part of her capstone project for her master's, which is from one of the prestigious, most prestigious schools in the area, if not also in the region and country, and that she will be graduating, I believe, in December from her program. And we want to wish her well and thank her so much for the services she's rendered to us.
Yes, congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna have to go because I have class in Pasadena and I live in the west side. So I'm gonna have to leave right now. But thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present, and very sorry about the mic problem and you couldn't hear me. But I hope you, I wish you all the best, and hopefully this program will be able to flourish and everything will be great.
Drive
Thank
safely.
you. Drive safe.
Thank you very much. It's a milestone.
Thank you, Yasmin. Okay, Judith, thank you. And I'm going to move on to agenda item 7, which is commission staff comments.
Any comments?
Yeah, I'll make a comment about what, you know, everything's going so well and there's so many exciting things happen. I just thought I would throw a little light on the Plaza series, which I know was a hard thing to relaunch after so much time. But having been to all of the music events so far, and I'm going to go to the last 2, I can say that lawn thing with the band in the street in front of the lawn is really wonderful. It just so easy to be there now, and so much safer and very, very relaxing. And you know, I don't know. I'm assuming it's a tremendous amount of work to pull each concert off, but I know that we have supported it with hiring a production, you know, management team, and I was just wanted to thank everybody involved with that. And hopefully be able to, until we get to the point where we have our own little Starlight Bowl in Brand Park, that we can continue with this format, because it's really nice the way it is. So
If I might, I agree, it's wonderful. You know, it does come at a tremendous cost. So it's just something we're going to have to explore, you know, and we can do that as we have budget discussions later, either this calendar year or early next. Just, you know, because if we try to expand that to 12, the cost is prohibitive. So I think, you know, there's a balance there that we need to talk about, and but we'll do that when we get there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I also just wanted to chime in quickly then to say a big thank you to the Brand Library staff who've been coordinating all of it. Also to Glendale Youth Alliance, who've been helping put up the traffic bollards and traffic control signage that we've been working with, and the security guards. So as Director Schaefer mentioned, there's a lot of people behind the scenes who have been working to make the Plaza series possible. So just wanted to say thank you to all of them as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to all. Okay, any other comments or questions?
Thank you all for your service
Thank you.
that you give for fun and for free. We hope for fun, we know for free.
Great, I will move on to agenda item 8, which is written communications. We do not have any at the time, which is agenda item 9, adjournment.
Have a good week.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.